The moment you walk away is the moment they lose all power over you. People think strength comes from holding on, from enduring, from proving you can stay no matter how much pressure they put on you. They're wrong. The most feared move in the game of power is the exit. Done calmly, without warning, and without looking back. Walking away is not retreat. It's an execution. It's the moment you flip the balance of control so violently that the other side doesn't realize what happened until it's too late. They thought they owned your time, your loyalty, your presence. In a single step, you make them realize they owned nothing. Here's the secret no one tells you. Most people can't do it. They can threaten to leave, they can fantasize about it, but when the moment comes, their emotions chain them to the very thing that's draining them. That's why the few who can walk away, truly, completely, become untouchable. You won't just disappear. You'll become the ghost they can't replace, the shadow that haunts every decision they make, because nothing infects the mind like the loss of what it thought it would always have. If you want the kind of power that makes people chase you even after you've gone, hit the subscribe button now. Make sure to like and share this with others, because this isn't motivation, this is control. And once you learn the real mechanics behind walking away, you'll understand why it works when nothing else does. Why walking away works when nothing else does. When you argue, they can resist you. When you plead, they can ignore you. When you threaten, they can call your bluff. But when you walk away, you leave them with nothing to fight against. And that absence forces them to face something far more brutal than confrontation, their own thoughts. Psychologically, humans crave resolution. An argument has a winner and a loser. A negotiation ends in a deal. But walking away without closure? That's a wound the mind keeps reopening. They replay conversations, they dissect your tone. They hunt for hidden meanings in your last words, because you denied them the comfort of certainty. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Power is not always in the attack. Often, it's in removing yourself so completely that the other side needs to pull you back just to regain their balance. You don't just exit the room, you take the air with you. And here's the deeper truth. People value presence only when it's threatened. The more accessible you are, the more they assume you'll always be there. The moment you walk away, their illusion of permanence collapses. And suddenly, your absence is more valuable than your presence ever was. This is why persuasion often fails, but disappearance, words can be ignored, silence can't. The moment you walk away, something inside the people you leave behind shifts. It's not just your absence they notice, it's the sudden threat of irrelevance that creeps in. Humans are wired to fear losing what they thought was guaranteed. When you disappear, you become a phantom presence, a ghost they can't hold on to. And that uncertainty triggers something primal: fear of loss. This fear of irrelevance is the unseen force behind why walking away holds such raw power. When people feel like something or someone is slipping out of reach, their minds scramble to regain control. The very act of walking away makes you scarce, and scarcity always inflates value. The harder you are to catch, the more they chase. Not because they want to prove anything, but because they can't tolerate the unknown. The mind hates gaps. It wants closure, certainty. Walking away forces them to fill that void with doubt, obsession, and sometimes desperation. Machiavelli understood this instinctive human chase better than anyone. He called it manufactured absence, the deliberate strategy of creating distance to command attention and control. This isn't about running away or giving up. It's a calculated move to flip the entire power dynamic. By stepping back, you invert roles. No longer are you the one trying to hold on or convince. Now they are the ones left grasping, questioning, and seeking validation. This tactic exploits the simple truth that humans desire what they cannot have, and what they thought they already had even more fiercely. The familiar becomes priceless once it's gone. Your withdrawal causes their world to pause and recalibrate. Suddenly, you're not just a person. They see you as a force that can vanish at any moment. That threat alone commands respect, fear, and control. Walking away activates a psychological lever most people don't even know exists. It forces others out of complacency and into uncertainty, where they become easy to influence or draw back on your terms. This is the silent power in absence. It unsettles, disarms, and ultimately rewrites the rules of engagement. The trap of staying and how it destroys you. Staying too long in the wrong place is a silent killer of power. When you linger where you're not valued or needed, you trade strength for dependence. Overexposure erodes respect. What was once a source of intrigue or authority becomes ordinary, predictable, and ultimately disposable. There's a deep psychological cost to staying too available. People begin to take you for granted. Your presence no longer commands attention, instead it becomes background noise. When you're always there, your value diminishes, not because you've changed, but because scarcity drives desire. The more accessible you are, the less others feel the urgency to chase, to prove, to respect. Machiavelli warned against this trap. Power is never about permanence, it's about timing and placement. Staying past your welcome flips the dynamic. You shift from being the one who controls the game to the one who's controlled by it. Emotional attachment clouds judgment, and too often it's that attachment that makes walking away impossible. Emotional traps are the chains that bind most men. Fear of loneliness, fear of loss, fear of being misunderstood, they all keep people rooted to situations that diminish them. The trap isn't just external, it's internal. You become your own jailer when you refuse to leave a space that no longer serves your power. True power lies in knowing when to step back before you're pushed out. It's about mastering the exit, not waiting for the door to close on you. Walking away is not surrender, it's strategic retreat, an act of strength, not weakness. By escaping the trap of staying, you reclaim control of your narrative. You reset the board and force others to respond on your terms, not theirs. And in that space, your power begins to rebuild. Scarcer, stronger, more dangerous. Throughout history and across arenas, politics, business, relationships, the most powerful figures understand the deadly art of walking away. They don't cling, they don't overstay. Instead, they create power vacuums by leaving on their own terms, forcing others to scramble in their absence. Take political leaders who resign or withdraw from battles just before defeat. Their silence echoes louder than any defense speech. By stepping back, they make their opposition seem weak or desperate, while preserving their own influence for a future comeback. Their exit is never a retreat. It's a strategic repositioning that commands respect. In business, top CEOs or negotiators know when to pull out of deals or partnerships, even at great short-term cost. They disappear at moments when their presence has created maximum impact, leaving competitors uncertain and scrambling. This calculated absence creates demand for their return and raises their value exponentially. In personal relationships, the masters of strategic absence don't chase or plead. They disappear after making their value undeniable. This forces others to confront what they risk losing, reigniting desire and respect. Their return is always on their own terms, never as a response or reaction. Each example shares one thing. They master the timing, silence, and impact of their exits to build long-lasting power. They leave a gap others must fill, a space where their absence becomes a statement of control, not loss. If this is making you see power differently, subscribe now, because the next tactics will make you dangerous to ignore. Detachment, the real weapon behind walking away. Walking away isn't just about physical absence. The true power lies in emotional detachment, the cold, unshakable indifference that makes the move possible and effective. You can't truly walk away if you're still emotionally hooked, still clinging to expectations, outcomes, or approval. That emotional investment chains you to the situation, turning your departure into a desperate retreat rather than a strategic exit. Detachment breaks those chains. Detachment is the inner armor that transforms walking away from a reactive move into a weapon of control. It means you no longer need validation from anyone, not praise, not attention, not reassurance. This lack of need creates a vacuum where others sense your unbothered confidence and start to fear losing you. Why does detachment terrify others more than anger or confrontation? Because anger still demands attention. It signals that you care enough to fight. But detachment? It signals that you've transcended the fight altogether. You've moved beyond the battlefield, making your opponents question their own relevance. You become the untouchable force they can't bait or manipulate. Cultivating detachment isn't easy. It demands relentless mental discipline and ruthless self-awareness. You train yourself to observe emotional triggers without reacting. You remind yourself constantly that your worth isn't tied to others' approval or validation. You master the art of presence without attachment. This emotional immunity doesn't make you cold or unfeeling, it makes you deliberate. It frees you to choose when and where to engage without being pulled into petty drama or emotional warfare. It's the calm eye at the center of the storm. Once detached, walking away becomes not a loss but an act of supreme power. It's the ultimate statement. I am in control of my time, my energy, and my value, not you. This detachment also reshapes how people perceive you. When you don't chase, explain, or justify, you become mysterious, unpredictable, and infinitely more powerful. You cultivate an aura of independence that makes others chase you, worry about you, and respect your space. In essence, detachment is the fuel behind strategic absence. Without it, walking away is just running. With it, walking away is a calculated strike that leaves others powerless and you untouchable. Master this, and you no longer fear loss or rejection. Instead, you wield absence as a weapon so sharp that just the threat of it commands respect and fear. Be the one they fear losing. Walking away isn't just about physically leaving a situation. It's about creating a presence so powerful that people become terrified of losing you, even when you're still there. This shift in perception is the final evolution of power. You don't have to prove anything. You don't need to defend your value or explain your actions. Your presence alone becomes a privilege, something rare and valuable that others are desperate not to lose. When you master the art of walking away with detachment, you turn absence into anticipation. You make people second-guess themselves, wonder what you're thinking, and fear the possibility that you might never come back. That fear gives you control over the dynamic, over their emotions, and ultimately over their decisions. The man who is untouchable is not the one who clings, argues, or begs for understanding. He is the one who walks away calmly, leaving an echo that haunts the room long after he's gone. This kind of power is rare because it demands discipline, patience, and ruthless self-control. It's not about burning bridges recklessly. It's about knowing exactly when to leave and leaving on your own terms. If you want to turn absence into your sharpest weapon, subscribe now, because the next strategy we drop will make sure no one ever dares take you for granted again. Remember, power isn't about always being present. It's about being so essential that your absence speaks louder than your presence ever could. Never forget this. The most dangerous man isn't the one who attacks first. It's the one who walks away last, knowing he's the one they can never replace.